Right now, you know exactly what day it is. A screen told you this morning a number in the corner, and you did not think about it once. You know the date, the month, the year, the hour. But for almost all of human history, none of that existed. There was no calendar on the wall. There was no number to check. And the day still mattered more than it does now. Miss the season, and your crop rots in the ground. Miss the migration, and the herds pass without you. Miss the first frost, and winter finds you with nothing stored. Nobody handed you a schedule. You had to find it yourself. Knowing the day was not trivia. It was the line between eating and starving. So how did they do it? With no clock, no calendar, no written number anywhere on Earth, how did a person standing in an empty landscape know what day it was? Here's the thing. They did not invent one clock. They found four, and every one of them was already hanging in the sky or lying on the ground. Look up, and the answer was moving above you. Look down, and you could hold it in your hand. Start with the most obvious clock of all, the sun. It rises, it climbs, it falls, and it does this every single day. Predictable, relentless. The first clock nobody could switch off. Now put yourself on an open plain 15,000 years ago. You push a straight stick into the ground, and you watch its shadow. In the morning, the shadow is long. By midday, it shrinks to almost nothing. By evening, it stretches long the other way. That shadow is a clock. And you just built it. The Egyptians turned this into a device. Along the Nile, archaeologists have found shadow clocks dating back roughly 3,500 years. Simple stone bars that split the day into marked hours. But the sun does more than tell the hour. Watch where it rises on the horizon, day after day, and you will see it drift. North in summer, south in winter, then back again. The turning points never move. Year after year, the sun stops at the exact same spot, and people marked them. At Stonehenge, on a plain in southern England, stones raised around 5,000 years ago line up exactly with the sunrise on the longest day. The builders hauled stones weighing tons just to frame one sunrise. This wasn't decoration. This was a machine for catching the sun. The sun gives you the day, but the day is small. To track something longer, humans watched the second clock. And here's where it gets interesting. The moon. Unlike the sun, the moon changes shape. You can read it from a mile away with no tool at all. It starts as a thin sliver, swells to a full white disk, then shrinks back to nothing. The whole cycle takes about 29 days every time. That is a calendar the sky redraws for free. And people counted it. In a cave in the Lebombo Mountains between South Africa and Eswatini, someone carved 29 notches into a baboon's leg bone, roughly 43,000 years ago. 29 notches, the same number as the days in a lunar month. Not a guess, a record. Think about that for a second. Far to the north, in what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo, there is another one. In 1950, the geologist Jean de Heinzelin found a carved bone by an ancient lake, covered in deliberate groups of notches, about 20,000 years old. Some who studied it saw the moon's rhythm hidden in the count. Nobody notches a bone like that for fun. This was memory, made solid. It meant tomorrow's you could trust yesterday's you. The moon gives you the month. But months slip out of step with the seasons, and here's the part nobody tells you. The real long clock was never the moon. It was the stars. Fixed, patient, turning on a schedule that never broke. As Earth travels around the sun, the night sky slowly turns, and different stars rise at different times of year. Learn the pattern, and a single star becomes a date. The sky became a calendar you could never lose. The Egyptians built their whole year on one of them. Every summer, the bright star Sirius vanished for weeks, then rose again just before dawn, and that first reappearance came right as the Nile began to flood. One star, rising, meant the water was coming. Miss it, and the planting failed. Now stand in that pre-dawn dark and watch the eastern sky for the star you have waited months to see. This wasn't magic. It was observation, repeated until it became prediction. They wrote the sky down, too, on the ceiling of an Egyptian tomb built around 3,500 years ago for an official named Senenmut. There is a painted star map. It is one of the oldest star charts on Earth. Painted overhead, so even the dead could still read the year. So you can read the sun, the moon, and the stars. But here's the problem nobody expects. The sky only shows you this moment. It cannot tell you how many moments have already passed. For that, you need a record, and that is the fourth clock, the one humans made with their own hands. It starts with a notch. 1 mark per day, scratched into bone or wood, so the count survives while you sleep. Picture your own hand at dusk, dragging a sharp stone across a bone. 1 more line. One more day. The bone remembered what the mind would lose, but the notch grew into something enormous. In a field in Scotland, at a place called Warren Field, 12 pits sit in a careful arc. In 2013, a team led by the archaeologist Vincent Gaffney showed what they do. They track the moon across a whole year, and they were dug roughly 10,000 years ago, thousands of years before the first written word. It may be the oldest calendar ever found. And far away in the desert of southern Egypt, at a place called Nabta Playa, standing stones set in the sand around 7,000 years ago line up with the sky to mark the seasons. The knowledge no longer died with the person who held it. These weren't piles of rock. They were the first databases. And here's what ties all four together. Every one of these was the same act. A human being, refusing to let time pass unmarked. They took something invisible and pinned it down. The sun for the day, the moon for the month, the stars for the year, and the notch to hold it all. They could not stop time, so they learned to read it and then to write it down. Read it, then record it. That is the whole story. So here's the full picture. A stick in the ground caught the hour. The moon's changing face counted the month. One rising star announced the year. A line of notches remembered all of it. 4 clocks, no numbers, read straight off the world. And now, look at you. You glance at a glowing rectangle, and the date is handed to you, exact to the second, and you forget it the instant you look away. You have never once tracked the moon. You have never needed to find a single star. The whole sky has gone quiet because a machine does the watching now. You gained the number and lost the sky. They looked up to know the day. You look down.